The English Channel, stretching 560 kilometres between Dover and Land's End. 75,000 square kilometres of sea, separating Britain from mainland Europe. 1 billion tonnes of marine traffic each year. Once a historic naval battleground, now the world's busiest waterway. On the front line,
Coast Guard Rescue.
elite teams, enforcing order and combating disaster as they police, patrol and rescue in the Channel 24/7.
Can you just give us an update on the casualties condition?
Coming up, the Royal Air Force's desperate search for a missing diver.
Could still be trapped underwater somewhere.
A 100-ton whale washed up on the Cornish coast causes a stink.
You've got a 60-foot whale, which is going to cause public order concerns and also public health concerns.
A day trip disaster traps 9 on notorious mudflats.
Mud, it's really slipping, dangerous.
A vintage vessel struggles to get up steam for what could be her final voyage.
And they were seriously asking whether this would ever be moved.
And the bomb disposal unit tackle an unexploded device on the Isles of Scilly.
Stand by, firing!
3, 2, 1.
The Royal Air Force Squadron based at Chivenor has 2 seeking helicopters which are crucial when searching for missing people. With the ability to hover and explore vast areas of the British coastline, and with satellite navigation systems, search cameras and radars, they are the best hope of finding people in trouble. Today, pilot Ollie Padbury and his crew are on their latest mission to try and help save another life.
This is Norfolk Haven Coast Guard. Yes, we have one diver missing off the Garland Stone north of Skomer Island.
Alerted us to a diver that's missing north of Skomer Island. His dive partner had surfaced, and the second guy is missing just north of the island on the southwest tip of Wales. So we're airborne now and should be there in just over half an hour to search the missing diver.
At the scene, the dive boat along with the lifeboat crews from Little and Broadhaven, Angle and St David's are already searching the area. The man was last seen in the water 30 minutes ago, and it's feared he may have been dragged out to sea in a riptide.
We do have a number of vessels on scene at the moment all searching. We know he is dressed in a black suit and I believe he has an orange SMB marker.
What sort of size are these markers?
They're about 1.5 foot, something like this. It's like a fishing float.
In cold conditions, hypothermia is a real threat, as it can set in within just 15 minutes of being in the water. Winchman and paramedic Sergeant Ryan Thomas checks the onboard medical equipment. The crew carry the same life-saving apparatus as an ambulance.
Got prepared for the worst, which is obviously an unconscious person in the water, and that's why I've just been preparing the cabin out for that.
We've got about 20 miles to run, and we're making almost 120 knots, so we've got about 10 minutes to run until we get on scene at the moment.
Co-pilot Flight Lieutenant John Hill assesses the search location and realises the crew will have to be cautious.
This area here is a wildlife reserve. It's a well-known bird breeding ground, so there's going to be literally tens of thousands of birds in that general area, which obviously we're going to have to keep a good eye out for and make sure that we avoid.
Flying at more than 200 kilometres an hour, a flock of birds could cause serious damage to the airframe of the seeking helicopter. The windscreen could also fracture, making flying hazardous.
We'll slow down a little bit ahead of our arrival, just in case he is in the open water and is coming this way fast. What do you reckon is going to be the best search meters today?
Eyeball, I think. I think I'll be looking out of a window. But he was on the surface, we should have no problem spotting fish.
Door come open there.
It is open, sir.
Starting to see lots of birds on the right-hand side in about 200 metres. So we'll start with a really thorough coastal search here.
Yeah.
Eyes out now, please, people.
Diving along Britain's coastline can be extremely dangerous. Since the year 2000, these waters have claimed over 160 lives.
Getting a good enough look at the rocks on the right-hand side at this kind of range.
I've got a pretty good view.
I see, and this is the dive boat coming towards us.
See, the thing is, you could still be trapped underwater somewhere.
A lot of birds getting airborne in the 12 as well.
Just as a visual aid, that lifeboat's been told to maintain a mile offshore, so that is how far they think he might have gone into the water.
The crew has been looking for over an hour without success. But now, there's been a report of a sighting.
They had a phone call with a possible sighting from somebody on the island in this vicinity. Supposed sighting around here.
This is where he was actually diving.
This is where he was supposedly actually seen as well by someone on the top of those rock cliffs, I guess. It's going to be quite hard to see, I'd say, but
Yeah, I agree.
that might even be a job for the camera.
The helicopter's camera can help them zoom in on any potential target. This piece of equipment is vital in a life or death situation.
It has got a beach in it, so if he was trying to make land, he might have tried to get in it, I suppose. Yeah, I'm happy.
Okay, likewise.
The lead draws a blank. With every passing minute the diver is missing, the chances of finding him alive decrease. Powerful currents could have dragged him miles away, so the crew is instructed by the Coast Guard control room to investigate further out to sea.
Okay, so I think we're about a mile off the island now. From what we've seen of the tide, I think this is where he's going to end up with that sort of tidal flow.
Sorry, boss, can you come right, please? Something in at 5 o'clock.
To the right.
Dead ahead.
Oh, I got you. It's a seal, I think, isn't it?
That's a bloody great fish.
We've got about 35 minutes before we have to go for fuel.
The search is now becoming desperate. The crew is low on fuel, and the diver has been missing for over 3 hours. But Milford Haven Coast Guard has received a report of a new sighting, which gives the crew renewed hope.
We are in communication with the tanker Galway Fisher. He says he has spotted an object, possibly the missing diver, approximately 1 mile to his north.
As the crew race to the location, a passing ferry also reports a second sighting in the same area.
Mayday, we may have seen the diver also. We have a target dead ahead.
Finish North 169, we're clearly routing to the object that you can see.
Go to a position dead ahead of us.
Roger, understand the position dead ahead of you.
Said 3/4 of a mile, didn't he?
Yeah, so we're in the right place.
And we're actually...
You ask him to keep talking.
Rescue 169, if you can continue.
Ah, visual.
Right, I've got it on the surface now.
Swimmer, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Are you clear spoke whenever you want?
Deploy is short.
A smoke flare is fired, so the crew can assess the wind speed. All they can hope for now is that the diver is still alive. Along the English Channel, there are 5 Coast Guard operation rooms.
What assistance do you require? Over.
Strategically placed along the coastline, these coordination centres are manned 24/7.
Hello, Ostend. It's Dover Coast Guard here.
They coordinate emergencies and ensure the safe passage of all sea traffic through the busy waterway. But every so often, the tide brings in something unexpected.
This is Pirate FM. It's 7 o'clock, good morning. A dead whale, longer than a bus, has washed up on a Cornish beach. It arrived near Porthtowan over the weekend. Nobody's sure what happened to it. Officials are warning us against clambering down dangerous rocks to have a look, especially because it could be a health risk.
At the Coast Guard Control Centre in Falmouth,
This is Falmouth Coast Guard Channel 67. Pass your message over.
They're being inundated with calls about Cornwall's newest resident.
It's Falmouth Coast Guard.
Hello, what can we do for you?
We have a large whale carcass, about 17 metres in length.
Bloody hell. Right, that's huge, isn't it?
So it's away from the main beach of Porthtowan, so really it's only accessible at low water to walkers that might go around there.
Okay, my dear, thanks for letting us know.
Fin whales are the second largest animal in the world and are often spotted off the Cornish coast in winter. It's the first one to be washed up on UK shores in over 20 years, and nobody knows the best way to get rid of it.
As yet, we don't know what's going to be done with it. My personal thought is that it should be towed out to sea and sunk.
Leave it, let nature take its course. Yeah, let nature take its course.
The disposal is Cornwall Council's responsibility, but so far they have not come up with a solution. Coast Guard Watch Manager James Instance has been tracking the carcass since it was first sighted 5 days ago.
The whale was first spotted by a member of the public near Zenner, about 3 to 4 miles offshore, where we sent the lifeboat out and the Coast Guard team to have a look. And now it's made its way up the coast, past Gadreevy Island, Gadreevy Lighthouse, on past Portreath, and has arrived ashore up here north of Porthtowan. You've now got a 60-foot whale on a beach, which is going to cause public order concerns and also public health concerns as well.
The 100-ton whale is believed to have been hit by a passing ship several kilometres off the coast. It's been washed up in a secluded cove and is surrounded by cliffs. But with the tide out, it's starting to attract the locals.
There's nothing that draws a crowd like a dead whale.
Stinks though, doesn't it? Stinks. I wouldn't like to be the person that has to take it away.
The Cornwall Council are discussing several options of how best to dispose of the whale, which could include towing it out to sea, or even blowing it up. But the growing crowds are the immediate concern for the Coast Guard, as this stretch of beach is susceptible to being cut off by the tide.
Our concern on this is that if you've got members of the public, people going out to go and look at it, they're going to get engrossed in looking at a dead whale and find themselves being cut off. So that's a potential trouble that we have.
While the council decide the best way to get rid of the whale, the tide has come in again, giving the Coast Guard a new set of worries.
We're probably going to wander up the top there and have a look over the cliff.
The St Agnes Coast Guard team have been requested to stop people risking their lives peering over the cliff tops.
Let's go, gents.
Station Officer Tago MacLeod is leading the operation.
But just a word of warning, the bit of cliff there is very, very unstable.
Yeah.
So make sure you keep well back.
Yeah, all right, mate.
All right, all the best.
Thank you.
You've got to watch this cliff top. It's a lot of loose soil. You're actually not on rock there. When you get to the edge, you look back, you'll see what I mean. People just don't realise, do they? They see a cliff top and they think it's solid. One of the dangers of coastline like this is that the cliff top is very, very unstable. People have a perception that a cliff top is stone and they can go right to the edge. That is not the case in most parts of the country. A lot of this is made up with soil and spoil from mines, which is just tremendously dangerous to walk on. And what concerns us quite often is we'll see people, and we have seen a couple of people earlier on, who are coming right to the cliff edge, lying on it, looking over, taking photographs. Just a really dangerous thing to do.
Tago and his team have no policing powers to stop people looking at the whale. All they can do is continue to warn everyone of the dangers.
I think people's natural curiosity very often overrides those little safety warnings. But so far we haven't had any incidents here, and let's hope it continues that way.
Two kilometres off Scomer Island near the southwest tip of Wales, a missing diver has just been spotted by a passing cargo ship and ferry.
Visual, swimmer 1 o'clock.
The man has been missing in the water for over 3.5 hours, and no one is sure what condition he's in. The Royal Air Force crew from Chivna need to get him out of the water fast. Winchman and paramedic Sergeant Ryan Thomas can only hope they've found him in time.
Let's do it. Right, hoist crew feels good, T-speed flight gear is up.
Okay, check 53 please. We've cleared a winch, we are fly away.
That's good, winch out. Winch out. 6, press 5, 4, 3 on right, 2, 1 on right, right, back 1, knees high. Okay, secure the second shot, bound for lift, right 1 and back. Winching in.
The signs are looking promising as the diver appears to be moving.
Right, this position, John.
10 okay, we'll go. Hoist to pilot.
Pilot.
Winch out. Out.
Stop. Stop.
Safely on board.
That dive back has saved his life, I reckon.
I'm amazed that a tanker saw him.
That's amazing. That's awesome. He is the luckiest person I've ever met.
Yeah, that bloke owes that tanker captain a beer.
Yeah.
Haven Coast Guard, rescue 165. We have the casualty on board. He is safe and well.
We're also going to need fuel fairly soon, so we can do that quite quickly, please.
Amazingly, after more than 3.5 hours missing in the water, 49-year-old Chris James is conscious and unharmed.
What exactly happened? How did you get... no problem to the dive at all. Come this place, I think of this place. It's at the west end of the river. Yeah. And then the current separated us. It just went. The big deal trapped them away. All the rest of the guys are accounted for, yeah. No worries there, mate.
Yeah, fairly tight on fuel to get back there.
The crew managed to pull him out of the water with just 15 minutes flying time left. They head to a nearby landing site where they can refuel and reunite Chris with the rest of his dive buddies.
I am absolutely and truly grateful and thankful. Marvellous, fantastic job. Yeah, I've never been so glad to see a big yellow helicopter coming and hovering above me in all my life. Every time I seen it, I was praying, I was shouting to it, come closer, come this way, this way. I seen the helicopter turning and coming straight for me. It came around, shot the flare off, and I knew then that I'd been found. And I did have a little few tears of relief, to be honest. I did. I mean, the guys are amazing, they do an amazing job, and I am so glad that I'm here to tell this tale, to be honest.
Moving approach.
Will do.
Exact 3 hours and 37 minutes that he was missing, and it's brilliant that he's found safe and well. Absolutely awesome to get down there, to get him out of the water. You could actually see the sigh of relief on his face. You know, he just needed, this is it, sorted, that's it, he's out of this predicament.
Despite Chris's brush with death, he remains in great spirits.
I like the feel of solid land. Thanks very much. Absolutely super. Okay.
For the Chivna crew, it's another triumphant rescue operation and another life saved. In the Cornish village of Porthtowan, a decaying 17-metre fin whale is still washed up on the beach. The Cornwall Council hopes the 100-ton mammal will be reclaimed by the sea, after deciding the whale is too heavy and too isolated to be moved. This mass public spectacle is fast becoming a health hazard, as the whale is rapidly decomposing and could be riddled with harmful diseases. Scientists Nick Davidson and James Barnett from the Veterinary Laboratories Agency have come to find out the health risks involved. They hope to discover if the whale is carrying any dangerous bacteria, which could be transmitted to humans.
Marine mammals can carry lots of rather nasty bugs. One particularly is Brucella, which he called meningitis in humans and animals. So really you don't want anybody touching it, but it's a bit of a circus down here. Not a lot we can do.
The onlookers and trophy hunters continue to be unconcerned by the potential health hazards.
I
I've lived here for 60 years and never seen anything like it. I'm just trying to work out a way of getting one of the bones home, but they're too damn heavy.
St Agnes Coast Guard Tago MacLeod and his team are patrolling the beach, but all they can do is urge people to stay away.
We have no policing powers to keep people away from this. Our role really is offer safety advice if we see people who are perhaps unaware of the dangers. But really we're here just monitoring the situation.
As night falls, James and Nick's mini-autopsy draws to a close. It's been a unique opportunity to examine a rare and solitary sea creature. The samples will be taken back to the lab for further examination.
Our advice would be for people to, to stay back from the animal, because we want to minimise the disease risk, and people need to be aware of that risk.
But overnight, the environmental and safety issues surrounding the whale appear to be resolved. The force of the incoming tide is beginning to take the remains back out to sea. For the people of Porthtowan, it's an experience that will never be forgotten.
There were all sorts of rumours going around Porthtowan about people blowing it up, and the Navy were going to tow it out to sea and blow it up. And there's nothing, the job's done. Nature's done the job.
Over 3,000 ships pass through the channel every week. They're all closely monitored by the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency to ensure that they are all seaworthy. A team of marine surveyors carry out random spot checks and on-board investigations to make certain all vessels are shipshape and safe to sail.
We sometimes have to ask some rather unpleasant questions.
Straight-talking Ulrich Jürgens is one of the most experienced surveyors in the business.
Why is this not secured?
Well, that may be what you think. I think it's not satisfactory. Can we just go down to 1.5 miles? So this is really a shitty picture.
His no-nonsense approach for those compromising strict safety laws gets results.
You wouldn't like anybody looking through your drawers for dirty underpants, and that's what we're basically doing.
Ulrich's next task is to decide the fate of a historic ship.
We're on our way to the Isle of Wight now, where we have to look at an old paddle steamer, which have to go up there to verify whether the ship can be towed to Newcastle to be scrapped. The Environment Agency is involved. They appear to want the ship scrapped in a scrapyard, which makes a lot of sense. But then, if you can't tow the ship safely to the scrapyard, and you would lose it on the way, then it doesn't make any more sense.
The Ride is one of the few remaining paddle steamers left in the UK. She was originally designed to ferry passengers between the Isle of Wight and Portsmouth, before being requisitioned by the Royal Navy and used in the D-Day landings. After retiring in the late 60s, she became a popular floating nightclub. Many locals are fighting for the right to restore her, as they feel it's still very much part of the island's heritage. But any hope of saving the 73-year-old Ride could be over if it's deemed fit to sail to the scrapyard in Newcastle. For Ulrich, it's a straightforward job.
In the end, it's a black and white decision. It's either that the ship is safe to float or it's not safe to float. And holes in ships usually don't fare very well, so they don't help them to float very much.
Ulrich will be shown around the ship by John Peck, the man who's been hired to carry out the demolition job.
Hello, my name is Ulrich.
Hi, I'm John.
John.
Although John is in charge of scrapping the ship, he has happy memories of it.
I remember going on it when it was a nightclub.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a good nightclub.
Yeah.
And then mysteriously it caught on fire. And it's sat there ever since. And it's just gotten further into disrepair. And now it is virtually just scrap.
As they arrive at the location,
bloody hell,
Ulrich is totally gobsmacked.
Yeah, I don't think I have to get out of the car for that. Bloody hell. There I am with my little hammer, huh? Oi, 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 oi. And they were seriously asking whether this would ever be moved. I don't even need the hammer, I can just stick the handle of the hammer through here. Yeah. Don't need that then. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Despite it being nothing more than a wreck, Ulrich still wants to check inside, just in case.
Oh, that's where the sea comes in, yeah. So that will be flooded at high tide. So if the holes are not enough, then this is enough evidence.
This was part of the old nightclub, and as you see now, it's just a burnt out shell.
Yeah, like all of us, has seen better days. Yeah, it doesn't really look like sex and drugs and rock and roll at the moment. It's usually very disadvantageous for a ship when the water is on the inside and not on the outside, and there are probably more holes than hull left of the ship, so there's no way on earth that this one will ever float unless you rebuild it.
They want to have it in Newcastle, they can get it there, but only on the back of a lorry.
Unable to sail, to make what could be her final voyage, the ride's future hangs in the balance. Along Britain's historic coastline lie treacherous mudflats. Fast-turning tides can trap unsuspecting walkers as large areas of sinking mud are suddenly exposed.
Coast Guard rescue.
An emergency call has just come into the Coast Guard Control Centre in Swansea.
I'm flying a microlight over in Western Supermare Bay. Yeah. And there's 10 kids up to their waist in the mud.
Are you near to a pill at all, sir?
I am, yeah. They're up to their waist in it.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
2 families have been trapped 800 metres from the shoreline while trying to cross a riverbed at low tide. Watch Officer Dave Jones alerts the lifeboat crew in Western Supermare.
Can we request launch, please? We've got 9 persons stuck in the mud at uphill.
Every minute is crucial as the tide is now coming in rapidly. So Dave drafts in Chivener's Royal Air Force search and rescue team as the families may need to be winched to safety.
Can we request air support, please?
All we know is that there's between 9 and 10 persons out in the mud up to their waist struggling to get through it. And we're on a rising tide.
Western Supermare, which is about 20-25 minutes from here. So we'll get going, see if we can free them.
It's in the sat-nav and it's 075, 45 miles.
Rescue 169, this is Swansea Coast Guard. We have up to 10 persons stuck in the mud at uphill Western Supermare.
The hospital at Western Supermare, I'm checking whether it has got an A&E and it's got a suitable landing pad for us, just so that we can think about which hospital we're going to take them to if they require hospital treatment.
If the families need to be hoisted on board, winchman Andy Penrose is fully prepared.
Hopefully it should be a matter of freeing them up. They're so stuck in the mud that we actually use fire extinguishers to inject water into the vicinity of where they are stuck to try and free them up.
The Rescue 169 crew are all too familiar with the perils of Western Supermare's mudflats after a 5-year-old girl lost her life there in 2002.
Then when the tide goes out in that Bristol Channel, the mud is quite quicksand, so they can get stuck down there quite easily.
So on scene in 6 minutes. We're talking about 10 people at the moment, which can be around about a ton of wet people, but we'll get around that by picking up the people that are most at risk first, lifting them to safety and then returning for the rest.
You are now clear the door. Doors fully open, securing the cabin.
At the scene, Western's lifeboat volunteers have managed to free the families from the mud, including several young children. Co-pilot Christian Wilkins makes contact with the crew on the ground.
Western, this is Rescue 169. Do you require our assistance? 169, yeah,
The families have spent more than 2 hours in wet mud and could be suffering from hypothermia. But the lifeboat is not big enough to rescue all of them.
Okay, so there's 9 casualties. There's too many for the lifeboat to pick up, but they're also hypothermic, so it's better for us to go pick them up and recover them to the beach. Can you pick the 2 up? They've got walking to them now.
Okay, that's fine. Roger, check's complete. I need 2 strops to recover 2 of the survivors. Right forward, wrenching out, height is good. 8 forwards.
Keeping an eye on the lifeboat itself.
Wilco. Height is good. 6 and forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, steady. 1 on the lifeboat, steady. Off the hook, working with a strop.
Both adults and children are wet, cold, and distressed. Concerns are growing for the little girl. To save time, Andy decides to winch 2 of them up together.
1 girl in the strop.
We've got 3 up, there's a very small child.
2 survivors in strop.
There's a very small kid, okay?
Okay, yeah, steady, steady, lifting, winching in, 3 on, gently, winching in, left and back, just get the rope to wash away from the rest of them, keep the cold.
Okay, they set up a landing site for us at 8 o'clock.
Okay, we're just working the cabin with these 2. Out the door, hoist to pilot.
Pilot.
Winch out, out.
Do you need any medical attention on scene, Noah? Yes, please, over. Yeah, roger that. We'll send some over soon, Mr. Roger.
The safety of Western Supermare's beachfront is just a 2-minute flight away, where a medical team is on standby. Western and Burnham Coast Guard will make sure they receive immediate medical attention, but the other family members still remain in trouble.
The lifeboat team have just requested that we go pick up another 3 casualties.
Winchman Andy is worried about airlifting more of the children in such muddy conditions.
That mud, it's really, really slippy. It's actually quite dangerous. There's a high potential for them slipping out of that strop. So it's even more paramount to make sure that they are secure before we lift them.
But it's not only the RAF and RNLI who have a tricky job on their hands. The Royal Navy Bomb Disposal Unit is called out on a daily basis to deal with deadly munitions discovered along Britain's coastline. Most of these lethal weapons are left over from World War II, while others are remnants from military training exercises.
Firing.
The unit in Plymouth has managed to eliminate a staggering 16,000 this year. But it's thought that thousands of potentially live munitions still exist on the Channel's seabed and shoreline.
3, 2, 1.
A Coast Guard on the island of Briar has discovered a suspected explosive device. Several pictures have just been sent through to the Coast Guard Control Centre in Falmouth for further observation.
It's covered in foreign writing. We believe it is possibly a line-throwing device, which will contain an explosive charge, and as such it could pose a danger. The military use a lot of pyrotechnics and objects that get washed up on the shoreline from time to time. And when they're discovered, we try and make sure that the public isn't put at risk. And if they pose a risk at all, we arrange for their disposal.
The Coast Guard calls the Bomb Disposal Unit in Plymouth, who can respond to any find within 30 minutes. Even though today's job is a relatively small explosive device, it needs to be dealt with by professionals. Leading the team is Petty Officer Nicholas McPherson.
Yeah, we're just packing up some explosives to fly over with us, just so we can make it go away.
The unit has enlisted the help of their colleagues from the Culdrose Royal Navy Search and Rescue Squadron.
My crew is briefed, so we're good to go.
Flying by helicopter is the quickest way to get there, as it takes less than half an hour. Petty Officer McPherson will assess the location on arrival before deciding where to conduct the controlled explosion. This modern line-throwing device is used by rescue teams to help casualties in distress at sea. It contains enough high explosive to propel a safety line 275 meters. In the wrong hands, it can be extremely dangerous. First job for the team is to find a safe location to carry out the detonation.
These are chosen up here because if you look down there, there's the houses and the chalets, and anything that gets blown into there is going to force a shockwave and any debris towards those houses. So I've moved up the hill, further downwind, away from the houses and all that, so it's all going to go onto the moor. They're just preparing a couple of sandbags to tamp down the explosion, and also with the hole they're digging out, we're actually going to put the item of ordnance into that as well to give it a bit more protection as well. This is PE4 military grade explosives.
This is our remote means of detonating the device. Just saying, oh, this is the receiver, we've got a transmitter as well. So basically just going through our checks. Then basically when we're ready, we'll put it on. Retreat to a safe distance, wait 5 minutes, we count down and then detonate it.
The automatic counter has a 5-minute timer to allow the team to retreat to a safe distance.
Stand by, firing!
All gone. That's it, job done. Yeah, it's all done, it's all nice and safe. Can't be left lying around and it's still a danger to the public. So it's best to come out here and dispose of it in a safe and professional manner.
It's mission accomplished, and one less explosive device littering Britain's coastline. In Weston-super-Mare, a multi-agency rescue operation is underway.
Just keep an eye on that lifeboat, tell me if it starts to move.
7 day trippers are still to be saved after getting stuck in perilous mudflats. The Western Lifeboat volunteers cannot carry all of them on board, so an RAF team from Chivner has been drafted in to help.
We need to pick up 3 casualties and the lifeboat will pick up the rest of them.
The 2 families, many of them young children, have been covered in wet mud for more than 2 hours and could be suffering from hypothermia. Chief Petty Officer Andy Penrose is preparing to winch down for a second time.
This is also going to be quite a tricky winch because the cover's from head to toe in mud, which makes it very slippy, and also it's going to make it a bit more dangerous for us.
Okay, yep, we're going. Roger, height is good. Andy again, winching out. Steady. Steady, back one. Right, forwards, winching out, height is good. 8, forwards. Steady, back 1. 2, 1, in the boat, steady. Off the hook, steady.
The children are exhausted, wet and frightened. Andy decides the best option is to airlift all 3 of them at the same time. The helicopter's winch line can safely carry up to 272 kilos.
Okay, we've got 2 on, not on the hook yet. Steady. Okay, there's a small child and 2 slightly larger children, and Andy to come up this time, okay? It's good. Okay, Andy has the hook. Forward, 1 and right on the hook. Ready for lift. Right 1 and forward for the overhead. Winching in. Clear of the vessel, winching in, move left and back. Winching in, approaching the cabin. Start slowly moving towards the beach.
We'll pick up
Place
the
the
red.
pilot.
Pilot.
Switch out. Continue. Pointing to us. Yeah, sure.
A second lifeboat crew has now arrived on scene to help rescue the remaining casualties.
Rescue 169, this is Lifeboat number 2. Lifeboat number 2, Rescue 169. Go ahead. We're evacuating the last 4x2 now. Our ETA to the pontoon is approximately 05 minutes. Okay, I'll fly away then.
Roger.
Pilot Ollie Padbury is taking them to Weston-super-Mare's beach, where a medical team is waiting. For the fortunate families, it's a lucky escape.
Many thanks for your assistance on this one. You can return to station.
Yes, as you can see, Weston-super-Mare is rather quite muddy. Kiddies especially, it's always rewarding, especially when you see their little faces, you know, they're terrified. It's a big thing for them to see, you know, a big helicopter arrives, they're terrified of being stuck in the mud, and the next thing they're getting placed on a strop. Yeah, so it's obviously quite terrifying for them, but once they realise that we are bringing them out of a dangerous situation and getting them to safety, then it's very rewarding for me and obviously all the crew.
The cab's in a bit of a mess now, so hopefully we can get the aircraft cleaned up and ready to go again.
And it's not just Chivener's Sea helicopter that needs a good clean.
Got a job. Gonna wash afterwards as well. It's just a quick wash and ready to go for the next job. As for me, luckily I've got another spare immersion suit, so I'm okay in that respect. But if I get another muddy one, I'm stuck.
Both families in the Weston-super-Mare mudflat rescue received medical treatment in hospital for exhaustion, and 2 of the young children were confirmed with hypothermia. But everyone is expected to make a full recovery. And Chris James, the diver rescued by the RAF in Wales after 3.5 hours missing in the water, was not put off by his near-death experience and is already back diving. Next time, agony for an injured climber as the RAF battle rising tides in a cliffside drama.
Shots are being blown away from him about a 4.5 hour reach.
It's emergency stations on board the QM2 as the luxury cruise liner launches a full-scale fire drill.
We have multiple casualties.
Dover's RNLI lifeboat crew race to the rescue of a stricken seaman.
I need a doctor.
Get out to sea in there.
And a young boy gets the ride of his life after a family day trip disaster.
Stop.